Tractate Avodah Zarah, page 37. We are 6 lines from the top of the page. מסתמיך ואזיל רבי יהודה נשיאה כתפי דרבי סמלי שמעי. Here we back to the subject of day before yesterday and yesterday, how you treated oil that came from people who idol worship. So here we have a story that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was traveling, was an elderly person, and as Rashi tells us, it was a grandson of the well-known put together an editor of the Mishnah. It was Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah, was the son of Rabban Gamliel, the grandson of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, Rabbeinu HaKadosh, and he was probably elderly, but anyway, he was leaning on the shoulder of Rabbi Simlai, his attendant, his assistant, Rabbi Simlai Sham'ei. Amar lo, Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah, the grandson of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, he said to Rabbi Simlai, Simlai, lo hayita emesh beveit hamidrash kshe'etarnu et hashemen. He said to him, here Rabbi Simlai, who was Bar Urian, we explained yesterday, it was a big Talmud Chacham that he delivered the message of Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah, and he said, you are not yesterday in the Beit HaMidrash, the place we studied yesterday, that we abrogated, annulled the ruling of oil that come from idol worshipper. Originally, it was a ruling that prohibited oil that have the source of idol worshippers because of restrictions we explained yesterday. But he said, you are not there today, but when we permitted oil of these idol worshippers. Amar lo, Rabbi Simlai in a way gets annoyed with this, and he said to him, you know what, if you go that direction, that you start permitting things, so guess what, in our days you will permit bread of idol worshippers, and in a way, we explained yesterday that there is a concept that's called gzeira she'ein hatzibur yachol lamod ba. You put the rules, you put a decree, enactment of the rabbis when you knew that there are two things. One, that it's spread properly. Two, that people can observe it and take it. Otherwise, if it's overwhelming and it's too hard, people will not follow, and it create the reverse reaction, and people belittle and denigrate the rulings. So therefore, he said, if that's the case, you allow even pot, even bread, you permit. Now, it's an important note for all of you. You should remember that when we talk about pat akum, in our days, it's different. Those days, it believes, if you read Pitchei Tshuva, Shulchan Aruch, and other sources, it was basically water and kemach and a dough and flowers. Nowadays is so many combinations and so many things that many times is a serious problem. Even those who somehow in certain places allow, if you read carefully the code and the commentaries of the code, they said, for example, doing a 30 Yemei Tshuva, the 10 days of repentance, one should avoid pat palter. You see it both in Mishnah Brura and Pitchei Tshuva and Maran Achida and many others. So the idea of pat palter, pat akum, nowadays it's a problematic, and it's do not compare to that time. But he came to that notion and says, oh, you allow oil, you allow also bread. Amar lo, Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah respond to his attendants through Rabbi Simlai, and he said, Im ken karu lanu beit din sharia. You know what? We bring a wrong reputation. People will call us, name this as a permissive court. This is a court that you don't take seriously because they said everything is okay, everything is allowed. It's a court that the Rambam tells us in the Sefer Shoftim, Hilchot Mamrim, chapter 2, he says a court has already permitted 2 previously prohibited matters, should not rush to permit a third one, because it's bringing them a reputation of not a lenient, not a serious court that people takes them seriously. Ditnan. This is a Mishnah in Tractate Adayot, chapter 8, Mishnah 4. He'id Rabbi Yosef ben Yoezer ish tzreida That's the Rambam said in a Perush HaMishnah, that was the scholar of that city, Tzreida, Al Ayal Kamtza. Ayal Kamtza, it's Aramaic for grasshoppers. Ayal Kamtza, it's apparently the name given to a particular kind of locust whose head resembled the head of a ram. That's, I'm reading here from Koran edition. You see Rashi also said here, Min Chagavhu. It's some type of, it looks like a ram in Ayal. Dachan, which is one of those that the Torah in the book of Vayikra, chapter 11, verse 22, allow one of the 4 Chagavim, allow them to, locusts to be eaten. Ve'al mashke bet mitbechaya. Ve'al mashke bet mitbechaya, meaning liquids of the slaughter's house. That was in the Beit HaMikdash, that is the northern of the outer altar, that they put the offering and put it together and do all this. So the Rambam explained to us in the Hilchot Tum'at Ochalin, chapter 10, the Rambam said the liquids of the slaughter's house, which is the blood of offerings and the odor used there, are permanently pure, do not contact ritual impurity, and do not render other items susceptible to ritual impurity. That's basically a halacha that we have by our traditions. So here they have these mashkebet mendechai, rabbinic ordinances pertaining to the temple, often offer from those that apply to the general populace. So Yosef ben Yoezer testified that the blood and water in the temple slaughterhouse were subject to different halacha. Dachan, which is that it is tahor, that is pure, which is that it's not susceptible to receive a tum'ah. And later we're going to read the machloket between Rav and Shmuel. In the second part of the daf, you see it also in Psachim, page 16. What exactly taharat mashkei beit hamidbechaim? Rav said that it's pure because it's not the recipient of the outer ritual impurity of liquid. He said that it's all rabbinic, and Shmuel disagreed with him. But anyway, the ve'al di krav lemita misav. So here the third one is kind of mind-boggling, because here it doesn't look like a heter. This one is, they say that one who touches a corpse, that he should be impure. So even mitkarev, even someone get close or touch, so lichora is prohibited. Here we talk about heter, that allowed. But anyway, v'karoles Yosef Sharia. It's already get reputation, get a name, that this is Yosef permissive. Why? Because it's kind of allow things. That he have these 3 things that basically should be prohibited. As we explained, Rabbeinu Yevanim Bar Tanura explained it over there in Adayot. You see it also in Yerushalmi, that the moment the Bet Din reached the level of 3 places that it's permitted, it's called Beit Din Matir. The Ramban said that it wasn't Yosef ben Yoezer who basically permitted, but he was the one who gave the testimony over that. But anyway, later the Gemara asked this question, that lemikrav lemita mesav, that if someone come close or get contact with the corpse, that's a issue, not heter. But anyway, so therefore we are not kind of circumspect. We are very careful to allow pat akum, to allow bread of palter, of idol worshippers, because then people will be very strong and very critical against us and not take our ruling of the Bet Din seriously. So now Rabbi Simlai rejected that comparison. Amar lei, Rabbi Simlai rejected the comparison, and he responded to his Rabbi Yehuda Nesia, Hatam, over there in the incidents of Yosef ben Yoezer, Sharat Lat, he basically allowed 3 things. Remember, Ayal Kamtza, Mashke Beit Hamidbechaim, and someone who touch a corpse. Right? He says, Umar And you, my teacher, my master, Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah, you basically matir, you allow only one thing, which is the oil that come out of idol worshippers. V'ish harei mar chada acharite. And if my teacher, Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah, you allow another one, so which is what? Pat akum, a bread that come from idol worshippers, you'll have, instead of one, you'll have two. Akatei tartin hu dehavyan. But the result, the ultimate result will be shnei heterim, 2 times that you permitted only. But because of 2 times, they don't call someone in a denigration way, you are the one who is always permitted. Amar lei, so Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah explained to him his concern, and he said to his student Simlai, listen, Ana sharai acharite. There is another one, you're not aware. You only think that I allowed the oil that came from idol worshippers. I have a news for you. It was one incident that already have the reputation, already allowed, and therefore, if I come out and allow bread of idol worshippers, it will be the third one. And as we explained earlier, the Rambam said it's a problematic for a beit din to spread a reputation as a beit din who's permissive, or who is basically always go lenient. Maihi. So now he elaborates and he said, Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah explained to his attendants, Rabbi Simlai, what is the second thing in addition to oil that he permits. And now we're traveling to something we learn, if you remember in Tractate Gittin, page 76b, someone who's traveled, and that traveler leave a get to his wife, meaning modern days we can say that there are cases. I remember when I was a rabbi in Maryland, I talked to the chaplains and they said in some cases people go to a special dangerous mission and they leave a get to their wives by the chaplain in case something happens. So here is a fellow that he the husband expressed at the time that he gave his wife, he says it's basically conditional. He said, "Ze gitech im lo bati mikan ad 12 chodesh." He said to her, this is your get, this is your bill of divorce. If I do not arrive from now, meaning they have a date on this specific date, until 12 months' time. Now, we have the concept that אין גט לאחר מיתה, meaning הוא מת בתוך 12 חודש, אינו גט. If the husband passed away, let's say 4 months later, which is actually 8 months prior to the expiration of that conditional get, so we say that אין גט לאחר מיתה, when a person is already no longer among the living, so is no such a thing get. She is almana, she is considering a widow. Now, the problem is, if there are no children, so obviously the need for levirate marriage, she needs the yabam. She need, if it's a living brother, he can marry her, right? That's the whole idea. And she is prohibited to go to go out and marry whoever she wish, if there is a living, surviving brother, and there are no children in that first union of that man. Why? Because again, she is almana, she is a widow, she is not divorcee, אין גט לאחר מיתה. ותנא עלה, we learn in the Braita, ורבותינו התירוה להינשא. But you see that our sages, nevertheless, permitted her to marry. So what does that mean? That she doesn't need yibum. She's free to go and marry. ואמרינן, מהי רבותינו? Who are those sages that go lenient and allow that woman that basically lost her husband, who already gave her 4 months earlier a get with the date? So they said, Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Beidina desharu mashcha. It's already the beit din, you know that beit din that was lenient already, over the issue of oil that comes from idol worshippers. That beit din of Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah is again beit din who was already lenient earlier with that manner. Savre ala ke Rabbi Yossi דאמר זמנו של שטר מוכיח עליו. So there is a machloket in Bava Batra 136 between Rabbi Yossi and Rabbanan. If someone give a gift to his son, and he said is a condition, im mati, if I passed away, from today he write a letter, so the chalot, the time that this gift take place is what? If it's a conditional. So Rabbi Yossi disagree with the Rabbanan, and he hold that if it was a date in that conditional gift, for example, mehayom, from this date, so the same here in the get, since it's written date, even he didn't say mehayom, but it's a date there, so therefore she allowed to marry without chalitza. So you see here, Rabbi Yossi Nesiah, Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah use the same logical reasoning of Rabbi Yossi in the case of the get. Now, obviously, there is a lot of Maramshik and many others expand on this comparison, the Maharsha. But the key here, you see that it's already preceding another heter. And that's basically what he told his students Simlai, that I already did it, already allowed. So we derive from the word of Shmuel that the second heter, the second time that Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah, the grandson of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and his Bet Din permit, it was a case like a woman that the late husband gave her get prior to his obviously passing, and he said that the chalot get, the time that this bill of divorce will take place, if he is not returned in the 12 months period, and he passed away during that period of time, which means that the Bet Din here allow two things. Here is the Shulchan Aruch Even HaEzer 144. With regard to a woman whose husband said, this is your get, this is your bill of divorce, if I do not arrive until 12 months time without adding the phrase from now, or on the condition that, and then he died within 12 months, she must perform chalitza if they had no children. This is because with regard to the matter of Lavirite marriage, she is considered a divorced woman as a matter of uncertainty, safek. So here, the whole idea of Eino get, in the practical ramification of this dispute, it's basically the idea that that is not whether the woman is permitted to remarry, as a husband's death certainly allows her to do so. Rather, the discussion is relevant to the mitzvah of Levirate marriage, in the case where the late husband has had no children. If the bill of divorce is valid, she is divorced and therefore exempt from that obligation. If it is not valid divorce, she is subject to it. So basically, you see this heter of Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah that apparently, ostensibly, his student Rabbi Simlai did not know about. So you have him, Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah, and his best din that allow two things: oil of idol worshippers and the get. So if they come with a third one, which is pat akum, which is bread from idol worshipper, therefore they already get a stigma, they will get a reputation, the name Bedin Amatir, and that's what he tried to avoid. So, by the way, the Gemara mentioned here important point, and they said, "Ve'amar Rabbi Abba b'red Rabbi Chia bar Abba Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, hora ve'lo hodu lo kol sha'ato ve'amre la kol si'ato." So, in short, they will not consider, in his opinion, this ruling. So, what you see, Rabbi Abba, the son of Rabbi Chia bar Abba, disputed the view of Shmuel. And according to his view, the Bet Din of Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah agreed that that woman allowed to go ahead and marry. And according to Rabbi Abba, Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah himself allowed it, and the rest of the Bet Din did not agree with him, and his view would not accept it. So now, since we bring this view of Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah in regard to this get, the Gemara bring another predicament when it's come to this. Amar le Rabbi Elazar le'ahu Saba. Some said Eliezer. Meaning that member of Beit Din of Rabbi Yehuda Nesia, the elderly person. Kish ritua, when you permit that woman to go ahead and marry lashuk, to anybody outside, le'altar shritua deloate, when you inform that the husband is no longer among the living, you allow her immediately, even during the 12 months, to go ahead and marry. Why? Because you have the assumption that you have the tnaim lo bati and the husband will not return. Or dilma, or maybe לאחר 12 חודש דהה יקיים להתנאי, that you allow her to get married after 12 months, because only then was the condition totally fulfilled. So the Rishonim here go in many different directions. Some say that Mi'ikar Adin, she can go ahead and marry right away because the husband is no longer among the living. You see it Tosfot here, you see it in Gittin 76, you see Tosfot Shans and others. You see others that they have the decree of the sages to wait for 12 months, because otherwise people, the word out will be not so great. People will talk, and it can lead to all kind of misunderstandings. So there's many others that go and go for the time. You remember we talked once, excuse me, about a divorced woman, or cases of husband to die, and we need to wait the period, 3 months, to make sure that she's not pregnant before she marries someone else. But here we talk about the fulfillment of 12 months. 12 months, it's like fulfillment of his tnai, of his condition. You see in Birkei Yosef and Even Ezer 17 and Shiarei Korban Yerushalmi that expand on this. So anyway, v'tiba elach amatnitin ditnan. So we should have this predicament, this dilemma raised with regard to the Mishnah itself, as we learn the next line, the Mishnah in Gittin. הרי דתנן, הרי זה גיתך מעכשיו אם לא באתי מכאן עד 12 חודש. So a man give his wife a conditional get, conditional bill of divorce, and he said, this is you get from now, if I do not arrive from now until 12 months have elapsed. הוא מת בתוך 12 חודש, have a get, and he passed away during the 12 months, so it's a valid get. דהה יקיים להתנאי, because the condition fulfilled, because the husband stated clearly that this bill take effect immediately. ותיבאי לך, and you have this dilemma, לאלתר הווגיתא דהה לא עתה, that basically retroactively this get is effective immediately because he's never will come back. או דימה, or you may said, לאחר 12 חודש דהה יקיים לתנאי. But you need to wait 12 months because then you have the condition fulfilled. So why you, meaning Rabbi Elazar, ask in regards to the Rabbi Yehuda's ruling that it's a controversy, and not by the Mishnah that basically put together all. So this Rabbi Elazar responded and said, En achinami. En achinami, meaning that I can ask in regards to the Mishnah as well. Ela mishum dehavit behahu minyana, because he was present at the assembly and therefore he could not report on what he actually occurred. So basically the Gemara did not bring an answer, and we don't have a clear conclusion. So therefore, because of that, the Rif rule in Gittin 39, and you see the Rambam as well, that if the husband passed away without children, she needs Yibum, she will not marry until they set up the exact date. They will not rush right away to marry. Here is the Shulchan Aruch Even Ezer 144. woman whose husband says, "This is you get from now if I do not arrive until 12 months have elapsed," she is divorced if her husband dies during those 12 months. Since Rabbi Elazar's dilemma was never resolved, if her husband had no children, she may not marry until 12 months have passed unless she had performed chalitza. So now the Gemara expands what exactly the situation that Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya disputed with the Tana of the Mishnah. Amar Abaye, hakol modim lechshetetze chama minartika. So Abaye said that all agreed that if one who says that a get will take effect when the sun emerges from its sheath, which means when the beginning of the lightning of the day, lechi nafka ka'amarla, which means that the halot get, the time that it will be effect, it was when the sun come out in the morning. Vechi mayet beleila, and if the husband passed away during the night, get le'achar mitao. It basically get that occurred post the death, and therefore it's not valid. So even Rabbi Yossi hold in this situation that the get is not chal retroactively. על מנת שתצא חמה מן הרתיקה מעכשיו כאמר לי, וכי מית בלילה, הוודאי תנאי היא, וגט מחיים הוא. So that's a valid get. כי דרבונה דמר רבונה, כל אומר על מנת, כי אומר מעכשיו דמי. So basically we should know a general rule that im in Ivrit can be two different things. Let's start with the Rambam. Rambam Ilchot Gerushin, chapter 9, tells us, if one says to his wife, "This is your get," once the sun emerges from its sheath, and he dies during the night, she is not divorced. She's just a widow. The Shulchan Aruch in Even HaEzer 144 rules that it is uncertain whether or not she is divorced. Now, on the condition that the sun will come out on its, morning, or on the time. So with regard to a husband who says to his wife, "This is you get," on the condition that the sun will shine, and then he dies during the night. So here's the Rambam that tells us in Chod Gerushin chapter 9 that she is retroactively divorced. In Even HaEzer in 144, it brings some that maintain that if he says on the condition, but omits the phrase from now, so therefore the halachic status of the divorce is uncertain, and therefore one must be stringent in such a case. לא נחלקו. So basically the אומר רבונה, the אמר רבונה, כל אומר על מנת, כלומר מעכשיו דמי. Anyone who state position employing in a language on the condition. So the Even HaEzer in 38 said, one who states a provision that includes the phrase on the condition, it's considered like one who stipulates that the document should take effect retroactively from now. You see it also in the Rambam, in the Hilchot Ishut, chapter 6. לא נחלקו, רבי יהודה נשיאה disputed with other sages, אלא באם תצא. רבי יהודה נשיא סבר לקרבי יוסי דאמר זמנו של שטר מוכיח עליו. ולמה היום אימתי, כיום אימתי, כמעכשיו אימתי. ורמנן לתלוד רבי יוסי, וכזה גיתך אימתי גרידה. So the disputation here is Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya hold that the follow Rabbi Yossi, that one who say the date written in the document proves that it take effect, and therefore consider those. The husband said, from today if I die, is like say from now you will die, and the sage is not accepted, and consequently they maintain that it's considered though the husband said only this is you get if I die, which in this case the divorce is not valid. And it will take effect only after the husband's death. So the Rambam rule followed the opinion of the sages who said, this is your bill of divorce if the sun will shine, and then died, has not divorced his wife, and the document is invalid. The Shulchan Aruch in Even HaEzer in 144 rules that it is uncertain whether or not the document is valid because it's unclear whether the halacha followed the opinion of Rabbi Yossi in this case. So it's safek. So if you remember earlier, they will bring the Mishnah where Rabbi Yossi ben Yezer allow three things. So here we gufa, העיד יוסף בן יועזר איש שרידה על אייל קמצא דחן ועל משקה בית מטבחיה. דחן ועל דקרב למיתה מסעה וקראו לסב שריה, remember? So now we zoom in, we like to go back and zoom into that. מהי אייל קמצא? רב פאפה אמר, שושיבה. So Rav Papa hold that Ayil Kamtza, it's the long-headed locust called Shoshiva. Rav Chia Barad Mishmedul Amar Susbil. It's a locust called Susbil. Susbil, apparently from the phrase a horse, Sus, of the god Baal. That's the Steinsaltz hold. This kind of epithets of grasshoppers and other insects are found in many other languages as well. Beautiful. Anyway, Rav Papa Amar Shoshiva וכמפלגי בראשו ארוך, and they disagree with regard to the long-headed locust. That this disputation between Rabbi Yossi ben Yezer and is this type of locust that have a long head allowed to eat. Mar, the sages savar, they hold, Rosho aroch asur, if a long-headed locust is prohibited. Umar, Yosef ben Yoezer savar, Rosho aroch mutar, the long-headed locust is permitted, can eat it. The Torah in Vayikra 11 verse 22 allow four type, Arbe, Salam, Chargol, Chagav. So it's in Chulin 65 and 66 disputation what exactly the simonim of them. Rav Chia, so now the Gemara expand on disputation. According to Rav Chia bar Ami Mishmei Deula Amar 37b סוס ביל בראשו ארוך כולי עלמא לא פליגי דאסור ואחא בכנפיו חופין ודרובו על ידי הדחק המפלגי מר סבר רובה דכל דו בעינן מר סבר רובה דמנכר בעינן. We do not have the time. I can tell you that there is the whole idea of klal uprat uklal, the Gemara in Chulin 65-66. There is a big discussion over this principle. How do you take it? Rav Papa said that Ayal Kamtza is Shushiva, and Rashi here expanded on that. Anyway, so one hold that the Susbil is long-headed locust, and everyone agree that is prohibited. And here they disagree with regard to locust whose wings barely cover most of his body. So Yosef ben Yoezer hold that it require only minimum majority of the locust body to cover by its wing. And the sages hold that it require noticeable majority of the body to be covered. Val mashkei ben mitbachaya, so now the second, dachan, running out of time. Right, I'll do my best. מהי דחן? רב אמר דחן ממש, ושמואל אמר דחן מלטמא אחרים, אבל טומאת עצמן יש בהם. רב אמר דחן ממש, כסבר טומאת משכין דרבנן, וכי גזרו רבנן טומאה ומשכין בעלמא, אבל משכי בן מטבחיה לא גזרו רבנן. ושמואל אמר דחן מלטמא אחרים, אבל טומאת עצמם יש בהם. כסבר טומאת משכין דאורייתא, לטמא אחרים דרבנן, וכי גזרו רבנן, משכין דעלמא, ומשכין בן מטבחיה לא גזרו. So therefore, משכי בן מטבחיים is not מטמא others, versus themselves is דאורייתא. So the sages cannot be lenient and abrogated it when it's come to Mashke ben Bachim. Ve'al dikrav lemeitav mesav. And now the other one we said that is lichora the other way around, that is the one should not touch a corpse that is impure. So as a result, it's called v'kawal Yosef Sharia. So So that's basically a chumrah, as we said, is astringent, is not lenient. So Yosef Asara violated. You should call him the Yosef that he prohibited. That's ועוד דורייתא היא. The Torah said clearly in במדבר 19, דכתיב וכל אשר יגע על פני השדה בחלל החבר מת. So he's impure 7 days. So what's the חידוש? רבי יוסף בן אליעזר said, דאורייתא דקרב טמא, דקרב בדקרב טהור. ועתד אנו וגזרו אפילו דקרב בדקרב, ועתו וכמה דאורייתא. So basically, the Torah law, one who touches a corpse is ritually impure, but one who touches another who touches a corpse is pure. And the sages came and decreed that even one who touches another who touches a corpse is also impure. And Yosef ben Yezer come and establish the halacha according to original, more lenient Torah law. So the Rambam, in Ilchot Tumat Met, chapter 1, said the corpse imparts 7-day ritual impurity by means of a tent, as well as though physical contact and carrying. These first two methods of imparting impurity are stated explicitly in the Torah. So Dikrav and Dikrav, he basically became lenient. Dikrav b'Dikrav namedorayta udechtiv v'chol shigar bo tamei itma. So the Gemara said, Amru Rabbanan kamei derava mishmei marzut rabbi Rav Nachman, damar mishmei Rav Nachman, דאורייתא דאיקרא ביקרא בחיבורים טומאת שבעה, יש לו בחיבורים טומאת ערב. ועתו ינוגזו, אפילו שלא בחיבורים טומאת שבעה, ועתו יובאו כמו דאורייתא. דאורייתא מהי? דכתיב הנוגע באמת לכל נפש אדם הטמא 7 ימים, וכתיב וכל אשר יגע בו הטמא יטמא, וכתיב הנפש הנוגעת יטמא דערב, הכיצד? כאן בחיבורים, כאן שלא בחיבורים. That's in the concurred contact, where there's a no concurred contact. Therefore, the individual question impure only until the evening. אמר לו רב עליו אמינא לכו, La tiltu bei buke sikrike berav Nachman, should not attribute incorrect statement to him. Said why? Hachem Rav Nachman safek tuma b'reshut rabim tir lahem. If his answer to impunity contact in the public domain, he permit to them. Va'ilcheta misota gamrin ala masota reshut היחיד tuma reshut היחיד. Amar Rabbi Yochanan lacha ve'en moren ken. Va'atayu v'ro le'arui. Tana me'acher Rabbi Yehuda omer korot na'atz lahem. אמר עד כאן רשות הרבים, עד כאן רשות היחיד, קראתו לקמד רבי ינאי אמר לו, המאיה בשיקעת בנהר הזילו טבולו. והשלקות, I wish to have more time. והשלקות. מנע נמילי. השלקות is type of boiled vegetables prepared by idol worshippers. So they are prohibited. מנע נמילי, אמר רבי חייא בר אבא, אמר רבי יוחנן, אמר קרא, Ochel bakesef tishbereini, the same Deuteronomy chapter 2. You shall sell me food for money, that I may eat. Va'achalti umayim bakesef titani v'shatiti, and give me water for money and I'll drink. By juxtaposition food and water, the pasuk teaches us that food is like the water. K'mayim, mayim shlo nishtanu, afoch shlo nishtanu. The same way is that the water is unchanged. So here the same thing. Because water, after you cook them, they remain the same as it was before. There is a Torat Chaim here, ask a question in the Ritva, we don't have time. Okay, אלא מעתה חיטין וסן כליות החינמי דאסורין ויחי תימה החינמי והתניא חיטין וסן כליות מותרין אלא כמים, מים שלא נשתנו בבריאתם, הפוך שלא נשתנה מבריאתו. אלא מעתה חיטין ותחנן החינמי דאסורין וכי תימה החינמי והתניא חיטין וסן כליות הקמחים והסלטות שלהם מותרים, אלא כמים, מים שלא נשתנו מבריאתם על ידי האור, הפוך שלא נשתנה מבריאתו על ידי האור. So the Gemara asks, Midi Urktiv, page 38, Ela Mid Rabbanan, the whole cooking of idol worshipper is prohibited by rabbinic law. So the Rashi explains, you see it in Ozarua as well, that the Jews will not be with him all the time with idol worshippers, with eating, drinking, then he feed him with impure foods. V'kra asmachta be'alma. So the pasuk is just in order to support. That's what Rabbi Bar Abba said, that the prohibited, that's better Rabbanan. So it's a disputation among the Rishonim if it's davar shnishtantor mi'breto al yedei ha'ur or not. Rashi explained that the reason for this decree is to prevent the Jews from becoming accustomed to dining with idol worshippers, which could lead to eat a non-kosher food. Others similarly claim that there is a difference between the prohibition against eating bread of idol worshippers, and that of eating the cooking bread was prohibited, the Ozarua said, due to the concern for intermarriage, where cooked food were prohibited due to the concern of consumption of non-kosher substance. That's the Rashbam, the Ozarua citing the Rashbam. And you see in Tosfot that claim that the food cooked by idol worshipper were also prohibited due to the concern for intermarriage. So as we said, that it's way more to discuss, and hopefully tomorrow we'll continue with that.